Name is Allie Hagley, and I've been a surrogate twice. First set of babies that I delivered surrogacy-wise were twins, who will be celebrating their third birthday tomorrow on January 31st, 2020 was their birthday. And then I gave birth to a singleton, most recently on August 5th of 2022. It was actually what I think started as a joke on my OB's part, but through my own 4 children, my OB had always kind of joked that I should be a surrogate because my pregnancies and deliveries went so easy. And so after we had our 4th child and realized we were done building our family, I think it kind of stuck with me. So then as I experienced more and more friends who were struggling to have children or had to use IVF to have children, that comment from my OB was still in the back of my mind, so I started looking into it. For both journeys, there's 2 per journey. It's always kind of an exciting moment doing that first heartbeat ultrasound, and so it's like the first confirmation for the parents that the transfer worked and that they're pregnant is always very exciting. And then the moment of birth for both of my deliveries, I was like, the moment that you hear the doctor say like, oh, I see the head, or like one more big push and they're gonna be out, I like hone in on the parent's face of that moment of getting to see them see their baby is always, I think, one of the most exciting moments. I think first journey, I really didn't understand or realize like how many shots and injections and like the med protocol and what goes into that. So I think that was most unexpected for me, the first journey. Second journey, that was expected. But second journey, I ended up with like a different med protocol and needing to be on injections for the entire pregnancy. So always the shots. It was always something about shots was unexpected for me and caught me off guard. So matching process the first time, I think like I was of course just really excited to jump in. I really connected with the intended parent's story and wanting to help them become a parent. And then second journey, I think since I knew a little bit more of what to expect and knew even maybe more of like my own expectations or things I wanted out of it. I mean, both times with having Montana/Colorado surrogacy there, you guys knew of those expectations. So I would say both times I was always impressed at the ability to find what I was needing, or like a personality style that would match what I was needing each time. Both journeys, I actually had, I would say like middle ground involved. Both journeys, we weren't from the same states, or even in my most recent journey, we were at like opposite ends of the country. But I think both times I had intended parents who were like as involved as distance would allow. Yeah, I mean, we like FaceTimed or Zoomed for all doctor's appointments, and parents would come both journeys for any appointments that they could. So I think it worked out pretty well, of like it wasn't so involved that, you know, it ever felt awkward or uncomfortable, but it was involved enough that I also didn't feel alone in it or ever question like, why am I doing this, or who am I doing this for? Because I felt both times like I connected with the parents and really got to know them. It never ceases to amaze me how it will come up without me even thinking about it. And maybe it has always been a topic that people talk about and I just never tuned in until I was a surrogate. But like even being in law school now, our very first day of classes, the very first case we read was the baby M case. And so it was a classroom of 90 people who've never experienced surrogacy, or most of them even, IVF, anything to do with it, all talking about the moral or societal implications of surrogacy. And I had to sit there being like, I actually know how this works, and baby M is not it.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just customize how I talk about it, I guess, based on the situation of, if it's someone close to me or someone looking for information, then I give more information. I do care a lot about there being accurate information out there, since, as I discovered, a lot of people's only impression of surrogacy is the baby M case or the sensational news type stories. But I also, in general, am fairly lighthearted about it. Like when I was pregnant, and people naturally see you pregnant, they walk up and say congratulations, or oftentimes to my kids be like, oh, are you expecting a little brother or a little sister? And even all of my kids were very well versed in like, no, that's not my mom's baby in there. And they'll just say the parents' names and be like, she's a surrogate, she's having a baby for these people. And I think that was one of the things I love about it too, is that my kids know now, and it's second nature, or like natural to all of my children to know that families are built in all kinds of ways, and they don't bat an eye at people's questions. I never had any like postpartum like physical issues, never any complications. So both times went pretty easy physically wise. My first journey, there was like a hard, I think, adjustment period for me of going from like my kids seeing it to like no longer being pregnant, and like the emotional change for my kids, I think, was hard on me. Whereas again, like the second time, I was more prepared for that. And my second journey, the intended parents had also had a journey before. So I think it was just a matter of everyone was more well-versed and like recognized, hey, everyone needs like a couple days to adjust. And second surrogate baby was born during the time of mass flight chaos and cancellations. So it actually kind of worked out that everyone got more time stuck in my hometown than anyone wanted to be, because flights couldn't get their stuff in a pile. Both times that was, like I said earlier, like one of the best moments, or one of the most exciting moments for me, because that's kind of the moment where it makes it all pay off. All the shots, all the worry, all the testing, additional appointments, everything that you've went through like with them and seen them go through to get there, it's all kind of worth it in that moment when they get to finally hold the healthy baby that they worked so hard for. So I think it's one of my favorite moments. Like if I could bottle that feeling, or even like just experience that moment endless times throughout my life, I would. Well, the second time, anything, because the second surrogate baby came sooner than we all expected. And it was the only time in my life that I'd had a spontaneous, like my water breaking. So wasn't prepared at all. My first time I was over prepared though. Like I had a million things in that bag because I'm such a planner that like I didn't need anything that I had packed really. So I guess, I mean, it all balanced out in the end. One time of over prepared and one time of no one was prepared and had to book an emergency flight in. So you win some, you lose some. Luckily, hospitals are well prepared for unprepared parents. My husband was there in the room through both deliveries, both times. So I don't know if I even remember what he said or him saying anything the first time either. I think we were all just so focused on the baby and on the intended parents' reaction that like, I don't know if like my husband had a reaction. The second time though, my kiddos got to come to the hospital and meet the baby, and they were all like excited. I think it's one of the first times too that they've like come to the hospital and seen a newborn, especially since, you know, we're just coming out of pandemic. And so for the longest time, that wasn't a possibility, was to see people in the hospital. So they were pretty amazed. I remember my oldest two, who got to hold the baby, just being shocked at how small he was. That was like all they commented on, was like, oh, he's like so light, so small. I'm like, yeah. And of course, as kids do, they were like, well, you were huge compared to this. And I'm like, yes. Yeah, it's not all baby in there. For both sets of parents from both of my journeys, I still watch them post all their videos, pictures, updates that parents always do of their little ones, and still keep in both like phone, text message contact, mostly just like you would with any other friend who lives in a different state, like the occasional check-in, birthday messages, holiday messages. They're all great about updating me anytime their kiddos do something new and exciting or funny. I think there's a lot of them. Then maybe that's more so because I've never done an independent journey. So it might be more so from being involved in the surrogacy communities and seeing the cases where it goes wrong. But in general, I like having someone there who is familiar with like the businesses involved in all aspects, or is familiar with all aspects. So when and if something comes up, they can kind of walk you through it. Like I said, I got lucky in all of mine that there was never any major health scares or any major issues. All the parents were like great to communicate with. But in a way, I feel like that might almost have been because there was like a fallback board, or, you know, an additional sounding board or an additional option. Whereas had there not been that third party, especially to know what to talk about in the initial match meetings, I feel like there could have easily been many things that fell through the cracks that wouldn't have gone as smoothly had we not known up front, or had the agency there to tell us what to talk about in the match meeting, or make sure that those important points came up. New gestational carriers, well, I would definitely say use an agency, because I don't see those horror stories, or don't experience the horror stories coming out of my agency experiences that I see coming out of a lot of ones where, I mean, like I said, there's just so many misconceptions and sensational stories out there. And beyond use an agency, I would say to make sure that they go into it knowing what they want, and not just assuming that like the bad things will never happen. So like I said, like I got lucky that we never had anything bad happen. But I also made sure in my matches that we had talked through it just in case of, you know, what if there was something that came up where they needed to terminate, or what if this, what if that, like go through all of the what ifs and make sure you're comfortable with and on the same page as what that outcome would be. That I loved it both of the other times. Like I said, I like the moment of getting to see them hold their baby. So if I physically could, I would absolutely do it again. I'd probably do it unlimited times. So I'm the reason that OBs have like a limit on how many pregnancies you should have, I think, because otherwise I would just do it the rest of my life. If you can do it, or you feel drawn to helping people, you should absolutely do it. Just go in prepared with all the knowledge rather than flying blind.